show how to change the Coulter Counter tube. So first, you need to remove the electrolyte jar. Like that. Set it down. Then, this is the drop, the solution button. You want to have it only in air, and then you go over to the Coulter Counter computer and go to run, and then so go to run and then drain system, and then it says to remove the electrolyte jar. We already did that. Okay, and now it should be draining the Coulter Counter tube for us to remove it. And you want to remove or take the jar from, it should be on that shelf, and take it down and open it. Okay, so once it's done draining, it should have the liquid level pretty low, and that means it's good for you to remove. So you just turn this down to unlocked, and then you slowly rotate it until it releases and pull straight down. Okay, pull straight down, and then have it here. And now you want to empty out the remaining Coulter Counter isoton, and then you want to wash it 3 times, or once with ethanol and 3 times with milky water. So to do that, you want to make sure that you don't directly spray ethanol or water on the tube aperture, and that aperture is this little circle here, or you can't actually see the aperture, but just cleanse the outside and the inside of the tube with ethanol and water. So once with ethanol, turn that out, and then 3 times with water. So making sure not to spray the actual tip of the tube, and this is just to get all the ethanol off. Twice. Time. Okay. Now, I've already gotten down the jar of apertures. So in here, there's the 20 micron aperture and the 50 micron aperture. So I want to put the 20 micron aperture on the machine. So this should be 50. And this should be the 20 micron aperture. Says on the side. You can just remove that from the Coulter cleanse and empty it into the Coulter cleanse, and then take your aperture that you want to put in, and then you want to pour some of the Coulter cleanse inside that aperture, and then put it back into the Coulter cleanse. Place it back into the jar very carefully, and put the lid on the jar, making sure that no dust gets in the jar. Okay, now you want to essentially clean this out the same way that you clean the previous one out. So that's once with ethanol and 3 times with milky water. Again, making sure not to spray the tip of the aperture with any solution, because it might break the aperture. That's once ethanol, 3 times with milky. Okay, now that that's done, we can replace it on the Coulter cleanser. So just pull up, and you want to hold it there, and you want to have the aperture lined up with the light. So it needs to be facing that way. There's no click or anything to actually tell you when it's like that, but it should be facing in that general direction. And then turn this. You don't want it to be completely directly up. You want it to be nearly up, like around that angle. And if you bump the electrode, the outside electrode, just place it back. It should be very close. Place it there. And now we want to replace the electrolyte jar as well. Just like that. Great. Okay, so we want to go to run and then fill system. And that will refill the tube. And once this is done, I'll take you to the aperture tube change wizard. So now we can go to run and then change aperture tube wizard, and then select a new aperture. So we're selecting the 20 micron aperture, which is not blocked. I believe it's 1717. Okay, remove the currently installed aperture. We already did that. Install a new aperture. Already did that. Place a new container. Yes. Fill the system. Already did that. Adjust the metering pump. And now we want to set the current and gain. So 200 microamps for 4 preamp gain is good. Okay. Measure noise level. Just click measure noise, and it won't take too long. The one thing we do want to skip is verify calibration. You don't need to click verify, and then all done. So now it should be at on the 20 micron aperture, and you can also load an SOM and then select which SOM you want to use. So these are the presets, or these are the ones that we already have used, but you can set your own SOM, and that will save all of the settings that you're using.